Okay, now you can see my screen. Okay. What about other students? Can you see my screen? Okay. So in today's class, we are going to use SAP UI5 screen elements. In today's class, we are going to discuss SAP UI5 screen elements. So screen elements are nothing but user interface elements. Screen elements are also known as user interface elements. In shortcut, we can call it as UI elements. And these screen elements we are going to use for screen designing, screen elements are used for screen designing. And before we use these screen elements, you need to know some syntaxes here. To utilize SAP UI5 screen elements, use the below syntax. You have to use the below syntax. So according to step 1, we need to create object for screen element. You have to create object for screen element class. Every screen element contains one scripting related class. Every screen element contains one class. So for that, you have to create an object. And you can set the properties. And step 2, you can access methods on object. We can access methods on object. And step 3, we have to place screen element object on content. We can place screen element object on content. So if you understand these 3 steps, then majority of the coming classes becomes very easy. In most of the situations, we are going to use step 1, step 2, step 3 whenever we make use of screen elements in SAP UI5. So according to step 1 syntax, it looks like this. You can use var, you can use some screen element object equal to new SAP dot UI dot, or you can use like package name here dot class name. According to step 1, we are creating screen element object by using a new operator. New is a keyword here to create an object. So you have to provide package name and class name, and within this class name in brackets you can use some flower brackets here, and you can set some properties like property 1 colon value 1 comma, you can use like property 2 colon value 2, then property 3 colon value 3. And if required, you can also set event name colon function. So you can set some properties like this, and if required, we can use an event. For event, we can assign one function. For event, we can assign a function. So this is the main syntax to create your screen element object. So according to step 2 syntax, you can use screen element object. You can use screen element object dot. You can access a method, something like method 1. And similarly, screen element object method 2, screen element object method 3, something like that. That is according to step 2. You can access methods on object by using this syntax. And in step 3 syntax, we have to place our screen element on content. We can place our screen element on content. So you can use screen element object dot place at, and in the bracket you can provide your content area of your HTML page. So these are the 3 basic steps you need to follow in order to generate a screen element in Sap Ui5. So, but where can you find these properties? Where can you find events? Where can you find methods? So you can find properties of so-and-so screen element. You can find events of so-and-so screen elements. You can find methods of so-and-so screen elements by referring to a documentation. So as I told you, there is a documentation here, something like Sap Ui5. So in this documentation, under control section, you will find all the screen elements left side. You can find all the screen elements left side. For example, I'm using application header. For example, I'm using application header, and you can see there is a documentation, API documentation. So a screen element contains some documentation here. You can see that. So if you select that, it will show you what are the methods applicable on this screen element, what are the events applicable on this screen element, what are the properties applicable on this screen element. So if I go to documentation, now you can see here there are some properties here. There are some properties here, and there is one event here. These are the properties, and these are the events, and you can see on top section there are some methods here. So every screen element contains these 3 important things: method summary, and you can see properties here and events. So properties, events, methods, so these are very important when you're using screen elements. So every screen element contains these 3 options. You can refer from documentation here. So as of now, let me start using one by one. One second. So let me use all these things one by one. So first of all, I want to use application header. So first let me copy the documentation link. Now SAP UI5 application header. Application header is a screen element here. Application header is a screen element. So it is used to display logo, then welcome area, log off button, username, etc. It is used to display logo, welcome area, log off option, username, etc., etc. So that's the only purpose of application header. But how we use that technically? So you can go to your, let me remove all these HTML tags. I'm not using HTML tags now. So if you want to write some piece of code related to SAP UI5 screen elements, you have to go to script tag here. You have to go to script tag. In script tag, you can write your SAP UI5 screen elements related coding. So all these things are auto-generated. All these lines are auto-generated when you create a project. Just go inside script tag, and here you can implement some coding. Where? So let me go with step 1. Create application header object. So how to do that? You can see I'm using where application header object equal to new, and application header belongs to one package, sap.ui.commons. sap.ui.commons is a package here in which application header is available. So you can use dot application header. So that's a class name. That's a class name. So as of now, I am not setting any properties and I'm not using events. We'll discuss in the coming classes. Properties, events, we'll use it in the coming classes. So at this point of time, according to step 1, we have created a application header object. So this is nothing but step 1. We have created application header object. And according to step 2, access the methods on object. According to step 2, you can access methods on object. So how to do that? So you can use application header object dot. You can use application header object dot. When you provide dot, you will get the methods automatically here. You will get the methods automatically here belonging to so-and-so class. As soon as you provide dot, control space, you will get all the methods here, and these methods are coming from application header class. So as of now, I'm using something like set. I want to use some methods here, set. So display welcome area. Set display welcome area. So I'm passing true value. So it will display welcome area if you use true. And similarly, application header object dot set something like log off, set logo text. You can see set logo text. I'm using, for example, Oasis Technologies. And similarly, application header object dot, you can call setter method set display log off. Set display log off, you can use true here. So that's a method. Set logo text, set display log off, set display welcome. These are the methods available in that particular class. So application header dot, you can use something like set something like username. You can see there is an option like username. For example, I'm providing a username as my name, something like that. But you can provide a dynamic value here. How to provide dynamic value, you will understand in the coming classes. As of now, I am setting username as static. But in the coming classes, when we go for events and actions, you will understand how to set dynamic value. Similarly, application header dot, you can use like set logo src. Set logo src, I want to use some logo here as Oasis logo I want to use. Copy that, paste it under some web content folder. So oasis.zip file, I want to use that. By default, it will display SAP logo, but I'm using oasis.zip file. So this is how you can access the methods on screen element object. Logo src, username, log off, logo text, welcome area. So these are all the methods which are applicable on application header class. So according to step 2, you can access methods like this. And step 3, you have to place application header using content area. You have to use application header on content area of our HTML page. So that's the reason why we can use step 3. Step 3, place screen element object on content. That is according to step 3. So that means technically you can use application header object. This is our screen element. Application header object is our screen element. You can use that one second. It is searching for something. One second. I just clicked on some button. So you can use application header dot place at, and you can place it on content of our HTML body. We are placing our screen element on content of our HTML body. That's it. Not only application header, we are going to use different screen elements and many screen elements, but ultimately you need to know this 3-step procedure. There are several screen elements in UI5, but ultimately you need to be good at step 1, step 2, and step 3. After that, we'll go to next level. So at present, let me test it here. So if you want to test it, just try to right click your index file, run as web application preview. You can right click and run as web application preview. So it will refresh here. So after refreshing, now you can see all those things are displayed now according to our, this is our output. In output, you can see there is a logo, text here, there is a welcome area, and there is a username, and there is a log off button. So logo and welcome text here, or I can say application title here, welcome area, username, log off. So all these things are displayed as part of application header in your HTML page. So that is how you can test your output, and you can test this under any browser. You can copy this code, you can go to your any file or any browser and you can access that. There won't be any change. Output remains as it is. So you can also test it in Google Chrome, so you'll get that. Logo, title, welcome area, log off, etc., etc. Now, say for example, I want to use some more screen elements. You can copy this. Now, say for example, I want to use one simple one. First, I'm starting with simple options, okay? So that is text view. This is a screen element here. Text view is one of the screen element, and text view is used to display text on output screen. Text view is a screen element. It is just used to display text on output screen. So how to do that? I want to use text view, that is another screen element, and it is just used to display some text on output screen. And we can use this text view. We can use text view for displaying some column name or label, text, etc. You can use text view for displaying label text if required. So let me go to that. I want to use text view. So according to step 1, we have to create an object. According to step 1, we have to create object for screen element. So how to do that? Very simple. You can use var text view object equal to new sap.ui.commons. sap.ui.commons dot, you can use text view. That is according to step 1. And according to step 2, you can access a method on object. According to step 2, you can access method on object. So you can use text view object dot set text. You can see there are some methods here. There are some methods here. So I'm trying to use one of the method as set text here. Set text, I want to set like some text like this. Some text I'm providing. Something like this. Similarly, if you want to provide tooltip, you can use text view object dot set tooltip. You can see set tooltip. That is also one of the method here. And you can provide some tooltip, for example, some tooltip I'm providing. Not mandatory, but if you want, you can use it. And according to step 3, we need to place our screen element on content. So you can use text view object dot place at, and you can place it on content. That's it. So step 1, we are creating object. Step 2, we are calling some methods. Step 3, we are placing it on content. So let me test it now by refreshing the screen. I'm just trying to refresh. Now you can see this is a text that is available here. Oasis Technologies Learning Center for UI5 Theory OData. So that's a text which is displayed on our output screen. We can see the text. In that way, we can use our text view. And not only text view, we can also make use of some hyperlinks. We can also make use of some hyperlinks. We can use some images on the screen. So first of all, let me copy this. So you can use that code. Now I want to use an image screen element from UI5. I want to use image screen element. So image is used to display some icon or image on output page. So how it works? How can we write the code for that? So let us go according to step-by-step procedure. And one more important thing I want to tell you. Don't ask me how to arrange the layouts. Layouts you will understand in the coming classes. So don't think about layouts. Layouts concept will come into picture in the coming classes. Okay, I'll go according to my sequence. Don't think about actions, don't think about layouts. We are going to do it in the coming classes. As of now, I'm just trying to make you understand how to display the screen elements. Okay, so please remember that point. Yeah, then let me use some image here. So according to step 1, you can create one image object. You can create one image object that is equal to new sap.ui.commons.image is a class. Every screen element contains class. So SAP UI Commons, you can see there is an image here. So that is according to step 1. And step 2, image object dot, you can use place at some content. Sorry, according to step 2, I want to use set image object dot set. There is one important property for image, that is set src. Set src is a method. For that, for example, I want to use oasis.gif file. So I'm using same image again. oasis.zip file. And similarly, according to step 3, we have to place image object on content by using place at. You can place it on content like this. Step 1, create object. Step 2, call the method, important method. Step 3, place the content. Place it on the content. So let me test it once. Let us refresh the screen. So now you can see there is an image added at the end of text view. There is an image added at the end of text view, and this is coming because of image screen element. This is coming because of image screen element. So similarly, let us use some more screen elements here like hyperlink. So let us go with one more screen element, that is link. Link in SAP UI5. So link is used to open website applications or a web application using URL address. Link purpose in SAP UI5 is used to open a website application or a web application using URL address. So let us see how it works. So I'm using var link object equal to new sap.ui.commons. sap.ui.commons dot, you can use link. You can use link. And for link object, you can call some methods, link object dot set. So you can see set href. Href is to provide the URL address. Href, set href is a method. For href, you can provide your website address. For example, http www.google.com, something like that. Any website, that URL address you have to provide here by using set href method. And similarly, you can place link object on content, so you can use place at. You can use place at. I want to place it on content 2. Content 2, and create here. That content 2 you can create here. You can create here in this manner, content 2. You can add some screen elements in content 1, you can add some screen elements in content 2, content 3, etc., etc. Now, at present, I am adding a link. I am placing our link on content 2. So you can try like that. So let me test it once. link to. So there is one more option missing. You have to use link object dot set text. Set text. I want to provide text as, for example, Google website. So href and text, these are important properties for hyperlink. Text and href, they are important properties for link. So you can test it now. So now you can see there is a hyperlink with Google website. Now you can see there is a hyperlink with a Google website. When I click on that, it will redirect to a Google website here. So that is how you can redirect from one application to another application. So instead of going to a Google search page, I want to go to results page. So then what you can do? For example, think like this. Slash, you can use search, question mark, Q equal to, for example, Rajnikant I'm using, for example, search query string Q equal to some superstar Rajnikant. So it will try to display the results page according to this query string. It will display the search results according to query string. This part I've already covered in HTML part. The same things you can use it in our UI5 in this manner. And you will also understand how to pass a dynamic value in the coming classes. So at present, let me test it now. And let me refresh here. Now when I click on Google, so it is directly going to a particular website here. So if you closely observe this particular option, automatically it is taking search string as Rajnikant, and it is getting all the search results from based on the query string here. So that is how it works. Now, not only this, as I told you, you can also redirect to a particular location in a Google map. For example, I want to redirect to a particular location in Google Maps. So you can use like maps.google.com / maps/place. maps.google.com / maps/place. I want to search place like, for example, India. Something like India here. So let us see how it works. Let me copy this URL. You can copy this URL and you can test it in latest browser. And when I click on this link, then automatically it is going to that particular location in Google Map here. So it is directly taking you to that particular location with some search string as India here. So that is how it works. So whatever I discussed in HTML, so those things are used in UI5 by using different methods. So let me give this to you so that you can practice. Just you need to follow step 1, step 2, step 3 procedure. Now, not only this, we can also make use of something like a text field. We can use like text field, and text field is used to accept input from end user. The purpose of text field is used to accept input from end user. So let us see how it works. Text field, where according to step 1, we have to create an object for text field. According to step 1, we have to create object for text field. So you can use where text field object equal to new sap.ui.commons.text field. So there is a text field that is one of the screen element here. So you can use that. Now object is created for text field. And according to step 2, you can access some methods on text field. So you can use text field object dot set value. Set value is one of the method, and I want to set some default value. For example, I'm using my name as default value. Set value, I'm using my name as a default value, but this can be dynamic. So dynamic functionalities will come in the coming classes. And now text field object dot you can use place at. You can use place at, and you can place it on some content. Content 2. Very simple. Text field object dot place at, you can place it on content 2. And content 2 is part of our HTML page. So let me test it now. So something is missing. Let me check what is missing. Set value, V is uppercase. You have to use V uppercase. So let me refresh now. So now you can see there is a text field with my name, and that is how you can use it, and you can change the value at later point of time. You can change it at later point of time. But by default, it is loading with the value whatever you have hard coded in your program. So you can see that. There's a text field. So we are going to use that in the coming classes also. Now say for example, I want to use a password field. Instead of text field, I want to make use of a password field. So first let me copy this. So I want to use like password field. So password field is also similar to field, but the characters will be hidden. Password field is also similar to a text field, but the characters will be hidden. and I can say password field is used to accept the input as passwords from end user. It is to accept input from the end user, but the characters will be hidden. When user enters a password, the characters will be hidden. So let us see how it works. So you can see instead of text field, I can use a password field directly here. Password. Let me check what is the class. sap.ui.commons. Let me check here. These are all the classes. So you can see there is a password field. So you can use that. For example, password field object. So password field object also contains set value method. Password field object also contains set value method. So let us see how it will appear on the screen. Let us refresh. Now you can see the characters are available in dot dot format. So the actual characters are hidden and it will show in the form of dot dot. So it will show whatever you type, it will be in the form of dot dot. So you can also test it in any other browser. It appears like dot dot here. Ajay Kumar or Vijay Kumar, whatever. So that is how password field can be used. So I'll stop for today. Today I have a meeting. So if you have any doubt, tomorrow I'll clarify. Okay. I don't think these are very difficult. These are very simple. In tomorrow's class, if you have any doubt, I'll clarify. Okay. So I'll be stopping today's session now. Okay. I'll disconnect that. So let us start today's class. In today's class, we are going to discuss some more screen elements. We are going to discuss some more screen elements in SAP UI5. So in yesterday's class, I told you how to use a simple tooltip. In yesterday's class, I told you how to use a simple tooltip. So say for example, for password field, yesterday we have discussed this. For password field, I want to use a tooltip. Then you can use like this: password field object dot set tooltip. Set tooltip, and you can provide some tooltip here. Something like this. So this type of tooltip, we generally call it as a general tooltip. It's a general tooltip. So you can see now, let me refresh now. So when you refresh, now you can see when I place a cursor, you're getting some tooltip here. When you place a cursor, we are able to get a tooltip, and this is a normal tooltip. We are getting a tooltip, and this is a normal tooltip, or we can call it as a general tooltip here. One second. Hello, Satya. Can you hear me? May I know who is this? Satya. Some outsiders are connecting. Satya, can you hear me? Yeah, what's your name?
Hello, Vijay. I'm Satya Praveen.
Okay, Satya Praveen. Okay. Okay, tomorrow onwards, just log in with some Praveen, okay? So here, what I mean to say is, in SAP UI5, it is going to support something like 3 types of tooltips. 3 types of tooltip. One is a general tooltip, and the second one is a rich tooltip. Rich tooltip is another kind of tooltip. So whatever I've done just now, that is a general tooltip, and there is third one. There is a third tooltip. So let me go to the documentation once. So here, let me check the documentation. So in documentation, you can see there are some other tooltips. Let me check here. I did not remember that. Okay. One is rich tooltip. There is one more kind of tooltip. I'm searching for that name. Okay, you can see there is a quick view tooltip. There is another tooltip here that is nothing but a quick view tooltip. So there are 3 types of tooltips in SAP UI5. One is general tooltip, second one is rich tooltip, the third one is quick view tooltip. So these are the 3 tooltips we have. So you know how to use a general tooltip. Now let me go with a rich tooltip. If you want to use a general tooltip, as I told you, you can directly write some code like this. You can directly write some piece of code like this. So that's a general tooltip. So you can write some piece of code, something like that. But let us use a second type of tooltip, that is rich tooltip. Rich tooltip. So if you are using a rich tooltip itself is a separate screen element. Rich tooltip is itself a separate screen element. Say for example, if you want to use a rich tooltip, then it is going to support. It supports tooltip text, and not only tooltip text, it also supports title, and it supports image icon. But how to use this rich tooltip? Rich tooltip contains tooltip text, tooltip title, and tooltip icon. Now I want to use rich tooltip for our password field. Then what we can do is just try to write some piece of code here. Rich tooltip. First you create one object here. Rich tooltip object equal to new sap.ui.commons. sap.ui.commons dot, you can use rich tooltip here. And within this bracket, what you can do is you can set some properties here. You can set some properties. For example, text is one of the property. And you can provide something like, please enter password value. That is one of the property here. And title is another property. So you can use title colon. You can provide something like password field. And you can use some image src. You can use image src. And I want to use, for example, oasis.zip file. So this is how you can create a tooltip. This is a rich tooltip, and rich tooltip we are setting tooltip text, tooltip title, tooltip image source. But I want to assign this rich tooltip to a password field. You can assign this rich tooltip to a password field. So if you want to do that, just go to password field object. Then you use set tooltip method. For set tooltip method, you can provide something like your rich tooltip object here. You can provide rich tooltip object here. That's it. So in this line, what we are trying to do, we are assigning rich tooltip to password field. So that's the procedure. Not only password field, you can use set tooltip method. Set tooltip method is a common method for every screen element. You can assign to password field or text area, slider or table, whatever. But rich tooltip concept remains same. Create a rich tooltip like this and assign that to a corresponding screen element. Create rich tooltip in this manner and assign that rich tooltip to any screen element according to requirement by calling set tooltip method. So let us see how it works. Let us refresh now. So when I refresh and if I place a cursor, you can see we are getting some rich tooltip here with some title, text, icon, etc. You can see now. This is a title, this is an icon, and this is a tooltip text here. So that is the use of rich tooltip. Not only for password field, you can assign it to different screen elements. I am showing with password field, but you can assign the same rich tooltip to any screen element according to your requirement. So that's a procedure for using a rich tooltip. So we are creating rich tooltip object here by providing text, title, image src. After creating rich tooltip object, we are assigning it to password field by calling set tooltip method. We are assigning it to a password field by using set tooltip method. So better remember this procedure. Password field or any screen element. That's the process. So there is one more tooltip, that is a quick view tooltip. For quick view tooltip, you need to know some more basics. So at right time, I'll introduce that concept. Okay, not now. Quick view tooltip we'll discuss in the coming classes. For that, you need to understand some more basics. But overall, these are the three tooltips we have. And let us go with something like a text area. I want to use something like a text area. So it is used to allow end user with multiple lines. It will allow end user to accept multiple lines as input. That is the main purpose of text area here. Text area is used to allow end user to accept multiple lines as input. And moreover, this is possible. Text area can accept multiple lines as input using rows and columns properties. Using rows and columns. So let us see how it works. So for example, I want to use text area. Hello students, are you able to follow? Audio, video, is everything fine? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to use text area, then what we can do? We can create some text area object here equal to new sap.ui.commons, that is a package name. We are going to use other packages also in the coming classes, but as of now we are using sap.ui.commons dot, you can use text area. Text area, and under text area you can use some properties here. You can use some properties here. For example, one of the property is something like value. I want to provide some default value inside text area, for example, something like this. Something like this I'm providing. There's a default text I want to provide here. And you can also use some columns. I want to use, for example, columns as 20 and rows as 5, or you can use rows as 10. So it will allow overall 200 characters here. Columns is 20, rows is 10. So 20 into 10. So text area will allow 200 characters according to my code. You can increase the columns and rows according to requirement, but according to this code, it will allow 200 characters inside text area. So, and then what you can do, you can use like text area object dot place at. For example, I want to place it on content 3. For example, I want to place it at content 3. I'm using content 3 in HTML page. So I'm placing text area on content 3. Very simple. So value is one of the property. Columns is another property. Rows is the third property which we are using for text area. So let us test it now. So now you can see this is the multi-line input here. It will allow multiple lines as input if you are using text area. It looks like this. If you want to increase, you can increase number of columns. For example, I'm using 60. And let us see how it works after refreshing. So now you can see that. So this is a text area screen element. So we can provide some default text, and if required, user can comment here. Something like this. So user can enter multiple lines. But how to capture text field value, how to capture password field value, how to capture text area value, that we are going to understand in the next level. As of now, my concentration is to display the screen elements. In the next level, we are going to perform some actions. We are going to capture the values from the screen elements. So at present, I'm just concentrating on how to display the screen elements. So this is a text area. You can use that code. So that's a code we have written for text area. Value, columns, rows, these are the three properties of text area. Okay, let us go with something like paginator. Say, for example, I want to use a paginator. So if you want to use a paginator, okay, first let me write that, Sap Ui5 paginator. So paginator is used to display the page numbers, and paginator contains backward and forward navigation, and paginator can be used with table, row repeater. We are going to discuss the table row repeater later, but as of now, I am going to use a paginator screen element. After understanding what is paginator, in the coming classes, we are going to attach paginator to table. We can attach paginator to row repeater. So if you want to use paginator, then you can write some piece of code like this. You can write some code like this, where something like paginator object equal to new sap.ui.commons dot paginator. That's a class. And when you are using paginator, you can use some important methods like paginator object dot, you can use set number of pages. Set number of pages. So that is one of the method. And I want to set number of pages, for example, 90. And I want to provide default selected page as 20. Then you can use like this, paginator object dot set current page. Set current page. And I want to make default selected page as 20, so you can use that. And after that, you can place paginator on content. You can place paginator on content by using place at method. I am placing it on content 3. So that is how you can use paginator. But in the coming classes, we are going to attach this paginator to table and row repeater screen elements. So first of all, let me refresh here. So it is not appearing. That means there is some problem here. Paginator, set number of pages and set current page. Number of pages, I think P smaller case. I'm using P smaller case, and let me try. Okay, let me check in the latest browser. So it is not appearing. Let me check what is the problem. Okay, so here there is a problem with this one. This paginator P is smaller case here, because I've created paginator object with P smaller case. So here you should use with same notation. So I made a mistake. It is case sensitive. So now I think it will be reflected. Still there is a problem. Okay, off is missing. YF off. So now you can see there is a paginator here, and you will get all these options. Let me test it in the latest browser, and you will get all these options here. And you can navigate from page to page. This is how it looks like. You can navigate from page to page. And don't forget, by default, 20th page is selected here. By default, 20th page number is selected because of our coding. And it is taking from 1 to maximum 90 because of our coding. So that will be in your control. Maximum value, maximum number of pages depends on the coding, and the selected page number also depends on your coding part. So this is how the paginator looks like. So let me copy this code. So that's a paginator screen element. It is case sensitive, so be careful with the coding part. Be careful with coding part because it is case sensitive. Okay, now let me proceed further. Say, for example, I want to use SAP UI5 checkbox. I want to use SAP UI5 checkbox. So let us use that now. Checkbox. So first step is create a checkbox object. First step is create checkbox object by using new sap.ui.commons.checkbox. C is uppercase, B is uppercase. And within the flower brackets, you can set some properties here. Checkbox contains some text property. I want to provide some checkbox as I want to learn something like SAP UI5, something like that. There's a checkbox text. And I want to use checked property as true. So by default, checkbox will be selected if you use true value. By default, checkbox will be selected if you use true. If you want to deselect, then you can use false. I want to make selection, so you can use true. And after this, you can place your checkbox on the content. You can use checkbox object dot place at, and you can place it on content. For example, content 4 I'm using. So it's same like yesterday's procedure, step 1, step 2, step 3. So you can create a screen element with some properties. If you want to call some methods, you can call the methods. And at last, your screen element should be placed on content. Create a screen element with some properties. If you want to call the methods, you can call the methods. And at last, you have to place it on content. So let me test it now by using content 4. Just for our understanding, I'm making it on content 4. Let us refresh now. So now you can see there is a checkbox with default selected. You can see there is a checkbox with I want to learn SAP UI5. There is a checkbox option here. You can select or deselect. But by default, it is selected because of our coding part. So you can use like this. And in the coming classes, we are going to understand the layout part. Don't worry about layout. First, understand how to display the screen elements. Layout, designing, adjusting the screen elements, that will come in the coming classes. But at present, we are concentrating on how to display the screen elements. Okay, not only checkbox. Now let us go with some sliders. I want to use some sliders. Let me copy this code for you. So that is how you can use checkbox, and let us go with SAP UI5 sliders. So there are two types of sliders. In SAP UI5, there are two types of sliders. One is a normal slider. One is a normal slider, and second one is a range slider. There are two types of sliders in SAP UI5. One is normal slider. The second one is range slider. So I can say range slider, again, it supports vertical as well as it supports horizontal. And range slider also supports vertical and horizontal. There are two sliders, and each slider will support vertical as well as horizontal orientation. And most importantly, I can say normal slider. In normal slider, user can select only one value. User can select only one value in normal slider. But in case of range slider, user can select two values, lower value and higher value. User can select two values in case of range slider, that is, one is lower value, another is higher value. That's the difference. In normal slider, user can select only one value. So let us start with a normal slider here. I want to use a normal slider. or technically, generally we call it as a slider. Normal slider is nothing but a slider. So let us use that slider and let us understand its behavior. So first of all, you can create an object here, slider object equal to new SAP dot UI dot commons dot slider is a class. Slider is a class. And for slider, you can set some properties here. For a slider, you can set some properties. For example, width, I'm using some 300 pixels. And I can use minimum value starting from 0. I can use minimum value as 0, and in slider, there will be a maximum value also. So you can use max. I want to use, for example, 300 or 2 or 100. Let me take 100 here. And I want to provide default selected value. Default selected value, I want to make it 60. Default selected value, I am making it 60. And you can use total units. You can use total units, for example, 5. Total units between 0 to 100. Between 0 to 100, total number of units is 5. And I want to display step labels. I want to use step labels. So then you can use true. And after setting these properties for a slider, you have to place a slider on content by using place at. You can use place at and you can place it on content. For example, content 4. If there is any problem, we'll try to rectify. First, let me try to test it. Let us refresh. So there is a problem. Let me check what is the problem here. Value, width, slider. Okay, there should be a comma here. There should be a comma here. Okay, let me test again. So now you can see a slider is available, and this is how it looks like. You can see now it is having something like 0 to 100. It is ranging from 0 to 100, and the default selected value is 60 here. Default selected value is 60 because of our coding. And you can see there are 5 units here. First unit, second unit, third unit, fourth unit, and fifth unit. So there are 5 units. 100 divided by 5. So each unit we are getting 20. 100 divided by 5. So each unit will get 20 as a difference. 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, and 80 to 100. So each unit we are getting 20 because we have provided the total units as 5. So 100 divided by 5, so it is having a gap of 20 units here. And most importantly, what user can do now? User can select a value here. User can select something like 80, or user can select something like 70. User can select something like 70 here, or user can select something like 40. So after selecting a value, what we can do now? We can capture that value and we can perform some operation. As a developer, we can capture the selected value and we can perform some operation. So how to capture a selected value, that we are going to understand in the next level. How to capture the selected value, we are going to understand in the next level. Okay, so at present, in this normal slider, a user can select a single value at a time. You can drag to a single value at a time, and as a developer, you can capture it and you can perform some further actions. But say, for example, this is a horizontal slider, but I want to use a vertical slider. This is a horizontal slider, but I want to use a vertical slider. So first let me copy this. So that's a code. So this is for horizontal slider. Now say, for example, I want to use a vertical slider. Normal slider, that is nothing but a slider, but now I want to use a vertical slider. I want to use vertical slider now. So how to do that? So in the same code, what you can do is when you are using a vertical slider, make sure that you are using height also. Height with something like 300 pixels. So when you are using vertical slider, height is important. And most importantly, you have to use one main property, that is vertical colon true. So vertical false, it will display horizontal slider. Vertical false will display horizontal slider. Vertical true will display vertical slider. So it's a Boolean value. You can use true, false according to your choice. So let us test now. Let me refresh. So now let me refresh in the external browser. Now you can see horizontal slider looks like this. It looks like this. So that's a code you can use. Here you can see. So this is a code we are using for vertical slider. So this is how you can use it for vertical slider. Now say, for example, I want to use a range slider. I want to use a range slider, and in range slider, first let me go with horizontal range slider. First let me go with horizontal range slider. So let me use that. Here you can use some width. Height is not required for range slider. Minimum value, maximum value, that is required. And most importantly, in range slider, we have to use value property and value to property. Value and value to property. So two properties will come into picture here. Value is for default lower selected value. Second one is for default selected higher value. First one is for default selected lower value. Second one is for default selected higher value. So let me use like this, 0 to 200, and lower value default is 60 I'm using. Higher value I'm making something like 160 as a default higher selected value. And you can use, for example, number of total units, you can use 10. And I want to use like vertical false. Then it will display horizontal range slider. And this is possible. You can use a range slider if you change the class name. So don't forget, you have to change the class name. Instead of slider, you have to use range slider here. Instead of slider class, you have to use range slider class from same package. So let us test it. So let me test. So now you can see, okay, this width is not sufficient. Let me increase the width. I'm using some 600 pixels. Let us increase the width. So now you can see this is a range slider, and this is how it looks like. But in range slider, you can see this one. Here, this is a minimum value, 0, maximum value 200 I have provided, and this is a default selected lower value. And this is the default selected higher value. I have provided default lower value as 60. And here I have provided default higher value as 160. So now what user can do? Within this 0 to 200, end user can select lower selected value and higher selected value according to his choice. He can adjust both the ends. So user may be selecting 40 and 180. So as a developer, we can capture these values, the lower selected value and higher selected value. For example, I'm using 80 and then something like 140. Now what a developer can do is you can capture the lower selected value, higher selected value. Based on that, you can perform some actions. Based on that, you can perform some actions. So most importantly, range slider will allow user to select two values, lower value and higher value. That is how you can select. But in case of normal slider, user can select only single value. So please remember that. So let me copy this. While sending the node file, then it will be very clear if I adjust properly here. So that is how you can use it. So these are all properties: width, min, max, value 1, value 2. These are all properties. Now say for example, I want to use a range slider, but I want to use a vertical range slider. Then it's very simple. You can use the same coding part. You can copy that same code, but here, whenever you are using vertical option, you have to use height also. Height, I'm using, for example, 600 pixels or 500 pixels. You can use some height. And most importantly, vertical, you have to make it true. Vertical, you have to make it true. So let us see how it works. I'm copying this code. I'm pasting here. And don't forget, so don't forget here, height is important, vertical true is important when you are using a vertical range slider. Vertical option and height option is important. So let me test it by refreshing the screen. So now you can see it is reflected. So lower selected value you can adjust, higher selected value you can adjust. So as a developer, you can capture that lower value, higher value. So that I'm going to explain in the coming classes. Okay, don't worry now. So this is a code. Okay, that's the only change. Now let us go with one more requirement. So I'll explain the requirement, but tomorrow we'll proceed that one. Okay, first just observe the requirement here. Say for example, in my screen, I want to display some text here. I want to display some text. It's something like Oasis Technologies is a training center for SAP UI5. UI5 as well as SAP Fiori with OData. So this is the text I'm expecting in my UI5 screen, but I want to have some hyperlinks for this particular text. For SAP UI5, I want to provide hyperlink here. And for SAP Fiori also, I want to provide some hyperlink. The remaining text should be normal text. The remaining text should be normal text except SAP UI5 and SAP Fiori. So, and most importantly, when I click on this link, this is like link 0 and this is at link 1. You can use that links, link 0, link 1, only for those two things. And most importantly, when I click on this link, it should go to a Google results page with SAP UI5. And if I click on this link, it should go to a Google results page with SAP Fiori. So it should display Google results page with SAP UI5, something like SAP UI5. You should get all the content based on SAP UI5, all websites and all content with SAP UI5. So here I'm expecting Google results page with something like SAP Fiori. So you should get Google results page with all websites and etc. related to SAP Fiori only. Something like that. So this is expectation. So in this type of situations, so in this particular situation, I can say we are using a text here. We are using a text here, but in that particular text, there are some links also. There is a complete text, but in between there are some link with UI5, link with Fiori. And each link will take you to some website. Each link should take you to some website, and it should display some results coming from that particular website. So this type of concept we can achieve in SAP UI5 just by using SAP UI5 with something like formatted text view. There is a screen element in SAP UI5 that is nothing but SAP UI5 formatted text view. So that's the screen element you have to use. We have to use SAP UI5 with formatted text view. So formatted text view is a screen element. And I can say formatted text view is a screen element used to display mixed content. It is used to display mixed content or mixed text with text and links. SAP UI5 supports formatted text view, and formatted text view is used to display the mixed content or mixed text with text and hyperlinks. A text can contain text with hyperlinks. In that situation, you can use formatted text view concept. So let me start this in tomorrow's class. Not now. It takes more time. So in tomorrow's class, we'll proceed with this one. Okay. Hello, students. If you have any doubt, you can ask me.
Vijay, this is Venkat here. Hello.
One by one. Okay, let me come one by one. So Venkat Vanaparthi, you can ask me.
Yeah. Some disturbance. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Vijay. Actually, I'm having problem with this when downloading installing the Eclipse. Actually, I've sent an email to you.
What is the problem?
I have put the screenshots. Actually, I have downloaded the Java as well and downloaded this Eclipse zip file. But when I'm double clicking that eclipse.exe, I'm getting some error, which I have sent you the screenshot.
What is your operating system type? Is it 32 or 64-bit?
64.
64-bit, then okay, it is not at all opening your Eclipse tool.
Yeah, right. It's not
which version of JDK you have installed?
The one which you sent me in the chat window, right? I've installed that one, but it was asking for the update, so I have updated that as well.
Okay, then after updating, I think you need to try this solution. So you can try with this solution here. I'll be sending it to you.
Okay.
Just try with that. If still there is a problem, then we'll look into it. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Then what about Vasant? In chat box, I sent that.
Hello.
Yeah. Who else is having a doubt? You can ask me now.
Yeah, hi, Vijay, Neeraj this side.
Yeah, Neeraj.
Yeah. There are a couple of screen elements you have used in which in some of them you define the properties and in some of them you define the methods.
Yes.
So, I mean, it is specific that in some of the screen element we can only define property and some we can use
Exactly.
method.
So SAP documentation says that Under some screen elements, you have to set the properties. In some screen elements, you can call the methods.
Okay, okay. So do we have some sort of a list of it that in which we can use methods and
Yeah,
properties?
you can see in documentation, you can get that. In documentation itself, if you go to, for example, a panel, there's a panel, and you can see there is a API documentation. In API documentation, you can get all those things. I think you missed that class. Method summary, and you can see some properties here and some aggregations. We are going to use some aggregations in the coming classes, but you can see the properties here. List of properties applicable for that. And you can see there are some methods here applicable on that screen element. You can see under method summary.
So we can use the combination also with method and properties.
Exactly, exactly. We can use combination as well.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, yeah. And Harshavardhan, dynamic changes we are going to trigger when we perform some actions. As of now, I did not do any action, but when we perform an action, then we can change its color. Harshavardhan, okay? We are going to understand some functions and actions. At that level, you will understand how to change the color by applying CSS properties. Yeah, then what about others?
Hello.
Who is this? Yeah,
Hello, sir.
Parthaswamy.
Partha here.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. How can I check the syntax here in scripting and HTML? Suppose
Yeah.
I made a mistake.
Okay.
So how can I check the syntax?
Okay, so what you can do is if you made a mistake, for example, you can see I'm missing semicolon intentionally. I'm missing semicolon intentionally.
Okay.
I'm missing a comma here. I'm missing a semicolon here. Intentionally, I'm doing it. So what you do is first try to refresh that screen. And what you do is you try to copy this URL in Internet Explorer. Copy that URL in Internet Explorer. Others also, please try to recognize this. So now you can see left side. Left side, you can see there is a warning message at the bottom. Left side bottom, you're getting a warning symbol. When you double click that, it will show you what exactly is missing. So it is giving some line number 133. There is a problem in line number 133. So that is how you can recognize.
Okay.
Character 2, line number 133. It is not exactly same. Approximate error message will display here.
Okay.
Okay, so how to recognize line number 133? Just go to your coding part in Eclipse, and you can see we have missed a comma at line number 133. That is what it is saying. Approximately, you can see that. Here you can see, here I missed a comma. I missed out a comma here, and this is how you can verify the line number.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, who else is having doubt?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, Suprit Singh.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was using application header which you used yesterday.
Okay.
The first thing I was trying, sir, I copied the same code which you sent in the notepad, and that display is not coming, sir, on that. When I'm doing it, when
Where
I'm
did
doing
you write the
refresh.
code? Where did you write the code? You write the
The
code in
script. Yes, sir, I wrote in script only, sir.
Yeah, in script you write the code.
Sir, there's a default. Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
Suprit Singh.
Yes, sir, there's a default code like the project name which I created. After that, I created an object called the methods and placed it into a content.
But is that content, did you check the case sensitiveness here? Content C is smaller case. So the same thing you have to use here.
Yes, sir, same thing I use, sir, but still I'm not able to see the display. I'm not able to know the
Okay,
error.
what you do is send that code to me once. Send that code,
Sure.
then I'll cross check.
I'll send you the screenshot, sir. I'll mail you that.
Okay, just send this code, especially the application header. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah, then what about others?
Hello, Vijay, Naveen.
Yeah, Naveen.
Vijay, regarding OData service, I have a question.
Okay.
For one of the standard OData service, I am not able to find in SCGW. So, is that, I mean, is that case where the standard OData service is not available? I mean, not from SCGW, but it is created from any other transaction like that?
No, it's not like that. SCGW contains all your OData services. If you are using HANA services, then you don't find in SCGW. You'll find in HANA system only. If you are consuming any OData service related to HANA, then you'll find it in HANA system, not in SCGW. You're getting my
How
point?
can, yeah, how can we say that it's a HANA service or
You can recognize that by going to the documentation only. In documentation, they'll provide you so-and-so service is applicable for so-and-so system.
okay, for one of the service order from requisition.
Okay.
So that service I am not able to find in SCGW. It's not HANA.
Did you find that service name?
Yeah, I did find. No, I mean in the standard documentation I could see the service name SRA013_PO from PR. So
Okay,
this
but
service I'm not able to find in SCGW.
that means in your system all the upgrades and all the add-ons may not be installed. That might be the problem. The add-ons related to your Fiori applications must be installed in your
Okay.
corresponding system. If the add-ons are not available, then you don't find the services. Add-ons for sales, add-ons for add-ons for HCM, those add-ons must be available in the back end to run Fiori applications in the front end.
Okay.
So the add-ons may be missing. You just cross-check with your administrator.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to check the add-ons, you have to go to Saint T code. In Saint T code, you can check whether add-ons are available or not. Saint, S-E-I-N-T.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, then what about others?
Sir, is there any standard OData service in our server?
There are some standard OData services. Just search with star. You'll get some OData services. You search with star.
Okay.
Yeah. Then
Okay.
in SCGW, search with star. Okay, then what about others? Ajit, Anil, Dheeraj.
Hello.
One question, hi, this side.
Yeah, let me give chance to others. Neeraj.
Vijay,
Yeah, Vasant.
while creating an Eclipse project,
Okay.
in the library we have two options: sap.pui.commands and sap.m. So
Okay.
we are now using UI Commons now here.
Yeah, we are using SAP UI Commons. You can
What
select
about
that while creating a project.
what about this sap.m?
SAP.m will come into picture when we go for Fiori applications.
Okay, for OData, sorry, for UI5 we will use only UI Commons.
No, we use both, but at present I'm dealing with UI Commons. In the coming classes, when I go for Fiori, I'll be explaining SAP.m also.
Okay.
Okay, don't worry.
Okay.
There's long way to go. So we are going to use several packages. As of now, we are using UI Commons, but we are going to use SAP UI Table, SAP UI Layout, SAP UI Model, and SAP.m. There are SAP.viz. We are going to use other packages as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, don't worry now. Yeah, then what about others? Tina, Tarmai,
Hello.
yeah, Dheeraj.
Yeah, hi sir. Sir, I just wanted to know that in real life practice, we write our code in index.html or in Vue while we are trying to create.
We are going to write the code in Vue also. In the coming classes, we are going to shift the same code to Vue and controller.
Okay.
When we perform some actions and functions, then I'm going to shift this code to Vue and controller separately.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, there is one more question. Maybe it's out of context right now. See that our mobile devices can can accept this code because mobile devices are because this UI5 application is HTML frequency. Because of this or because of some other feature?
Mainly our UI5 theory, they are more of like HTML pages. They are like web pages, so you can access on any device.
Okay, so that is the only reason, right?
That is the main reason, yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Then Deepti, Anil, Ajit, Mahendra, Mohan.
Hi Vijay, Jyoti here.
Yeah, Jyoti.
You said like there are many other packages along with UI commands, right? Now we are using UI commands. How do we know that particular screen element belongs to particular package?
So in one thing is by documentation, the second thing is by trainer.
Okay, in documentation, yeah.
Or else what you can do is, one is through training you can understand, another is through documentation. The third thing is you can write like this, SAP dot, some UI dot, then you can get some packages here.
Okay.
Are you getting my point?
Yeah, different packages we see. And
Yes.
here, how to find the screen element? And
screen elements means then, say for example, if I'm using,
yes.
say for example, if I'm using SAP.UI.core,
Okay.
dot, then you may get some screen elements belonging to that. You can see SAP.UI.core contains some screen element like busy indicator, and
Okay.
it also contains like you can see HTML, icon, item, list item. So these are all other screen elements in SAP UI core. If you use dot, you will get those options here.
Okay, okay. After dot, the control space, right? To get this box.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Fine, fine. Yeah, Vijay, thank you.
Then what about others? Raja. Then Ravi, Rohit, Rani, Soumendra, Saroj.
Sir, exactly. Could you please tell me what is the use of the slider?
Slider is just like user will select a particular value. Based on that, we can send it to backend to get the respective data.
Actually, one example, sir.
Say for example, if I want to use like this, if I want to use like, think like this. Let me go to a Google, then you'll understand where slider is useful. Something like bank loan calculator. So you can see here, Bank Bazaar. Okay, let us see here. You can see there are some sliders here. You can see that. Are you getting my point?
Okay.
So similarly, we can also develop our applications with sliders, and based on the slider, we can perform some calculations. Based on the slider value, we can get the data from backend system.
Yes, yes, yes. Got it.
Okay, you can see home loan calculator, personal loan calculator, car loan calculator. So everywhere they are using slider to calculate loan amount, interest rate, and loan tenure. Based on that, we can get the data and we can display on the graph or table or whatever.
Okay, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Got it.
Then what about others? Srikanth, Sumit, Sunil. Srikanth, Sumit, Sunil, any doubt? Okay.
Hi Vijay.
Yeah, Venkat.
Yeah, you in that solution you provide that go to Windows. Is that a folder in C you are saying, or?
It's not a folder that you will get only after opening Eclipse.
Okay, but my problem is I cannot able open the Eclipse. That's the problem.
What you do is just try to reinstall. Do it again once.
Okay.
Try to reinstall that.
So,
and
I mean, I have installed one. So, is that a right one or wrong one? How do I know? Because it's the same folders I have got it.
No problem.
What
What you do is, no problem.
Yeah.
It will override all those things. Just try to download that Eclipse again. Try to reinstall. First install that JDK 7 or 8. After that, you install Eclipse.
Okay. Can you show me that link once again for that, Eclipse? Or can you send me that? Yeah.
So I'm copying that link in your GoToMeeting. Just copy from there. I'm pasting.
Okay.
Okay. Just try to copy that.
And I just need to click this download right here.
Yes, yes. But before doing that, first install that JDK option.
Okay. Okay, all right.
Yeah, Neeraj, you were asking something. Neeraj.
Yeah, I have only one doubt regarding content area. I mean, we have content 1, content 2, content 3. I mean, normally, why we use it and what is the purpose of that when we start creating an application?
It is just like a section. It is going to generate a separate section in the output HTML page.
Okay. Okay.
It is just like a section. In each section, you can place some collection of screen elements.
Okay. Okay. So basically, in one section we can have collection of screen elements, and if we want to separate the other screen elements, we can put it in the other section.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Then Mukund, Mohan, Gaurav, Deepthi, you have any doubts? Mukund, Mohan, Gaurav. Mahidar, you have any doubts? Adi Lakshmi. Anil. Anil, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, students, so I'll stop for today and tomorrow we'll proceed further. Okay. Don't miss any class. Every class will be very important. So don't miss any class. Yeah, good night.